One of the problems that you guys often have is, hey, look, I'm making these games, but going to a full Steam release can often take multiple years of development if you're like getting into it for the first time. So we often say, hey, make smaller games and upload them and put them somewhere. But putting them on itch.io, it's not always the best. Like sometimes you only get templates and things like that. And I'm here with Crazy Games, who is actually sponsoring the Gamescom coverage as well, because I think they have a really good solution that you can do instead of just going immediately to that Steam release. So I'm here with Raphael, who maybe can you give a little bit more of an explanation of, hey, what is Crazy Games and what does it do?
So Crazy Games is a web gaming platform. We have 35 million monthly active users. Our core user base is in the US, so you'll be talking to like a high value audience. We make it very easy for developers to publish the game and reach this audience. So if you publish a game with us, you're going to get a lot of players, so you don't have to take care of user acquisition. The integration is very straightforward, and porting to the web it's became easier and easier over time. Right now, if your game is made with Unity or any other game engines, you will have the option to export to the web, and we have plugins for all of those game engines. So Crazy Games provides really, I would say, one of the most accessible alternatives for you to collect data on your game, earn some money on top, understand how people engage with your game as well. And we have a set of tools that that you can see analytics on your game. And yeah, so it's really cool. We're working with different types of developers. So even if you're like a student or somebody that's beginning on and trying to understand the game industry as a whole, Crazy Games can be the perfect place for you to start. But if you're a very accomplished developer and you're looking at that with multiple releases, we can also provide like this additional revenue for you to just get your game on and reach a new audience that's it's not available everywhere, right? We have a lot of young students that are playing. We also have a lot of senior people that they are playing Crazy Games, and we have a vast catalog. So basically every single type of content will work on Crazy Games.
So okay, there's a wide variety. What is the ideal game kind of to put on Crazy Games? Because probably not every genre is like ideal. There's some that are better for maybe Steam, whereas some are better for Crazy Games. So how do you see that? What are like the top selling games on Crazy Games?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think like as we have like a young audience, I think a lot of stuff that emulates sort of like Minecraft, Roblox, that comes around those experiences, they tend to perform really well on Crazy Games. In general, working with the web, there's some things that is very important to consider. So game loading, it's a crucial thing. So if you have a very large game, the people will not have the patience to load the game because you do everything on the fly. So you need to optimize your game and if you have a large game, use that as a streaming and optimize. And I think this is a very important element in terms of game genres, games that people can easily get into it, right? So no lengthy tutorials, they generally tend to perform out of the batch better. And one trend that we're seeing, and if you do have this, it's like multiplayer games that you can play online with your friends. Those are doing really, really well, and you're very welcome if you have a game like this to bring to Crazy Games. We'll take a look.
So how does that process work exactly? I'm making a game that's more focused on like casual and good game design and just make it fun from the get-go. I've made one of those. How do I then go as a developer to really put it there? Is it just an upload to, because Steam, for example, you need to pay $100 to get your game on that platform. How do you kind of validate, okay, these are games you do put on the platform? Where do you put like the bar of quality as well? You probably don't want to just throw out a Unity project in like 3 seconds and like re-upload it.
No, exactly. So we are open platform, but we have a curation system in place, right? Meaning that we receive a lot of games every week. We take the time to evaluate, to play, and we only publish games that we think there will be a return for the developer and for ourselves, and especially for the players, right? So there is this curation into place. You can go to developer.crazygames.com. There you'll find all the information that you need, all the questions. There's a lot of stuff has been answered, and we also have docs.crazygames.com where you find all the documentation needed, and there are some guidelines that you need to follow in terms of the ad placements or in-app purchase and things like this. So you find all this information very well detailed over there, and I think the process is really straightforward. We try to streamline as much as possible. You have a good game that you're comfortable showing to people. You send it to us. The uploading process is very easy. You upload some photos. There is a small description that you have to fill out, and you need to tell us exactly what sort of compression you're using, but that's it. It's something that you complete in 5 minutes and you send to us, and then our team, we actually do the heavy lifting about, proving the game, seeing if there are bugs and things like this, and also send it back to you, all the feedback about how can we monetize your game better, what are the improvements that you can do. And from that, we do this cooperation together, and then you become a Crazy Games partner.
I think one thing you already mentioned, like advertisement and in-app purchase. So itch.io is like, it's easy to put on it, but you just upload, but you're not really earning anything from it. Whereas you really look at monetization, and actually we want developers to earn money. What are like the ways you mentioned? Are there other ones, or how do you make the most out of your game as well? Do you just slam ads into it? How do you see it?
So for us, like I would say Crazy Games is like the most important thing is the user experience, because we learned that in the long run, if the user come and play a great game, has a good experience, he will come back. And this, we've been growing a lot because of this I would say, this approach. We have a mild view in terms of ads. It's important, right? But there is the right place that you can serve. So there is an ongoing demand for rewarded videos, for instance, which is something that the player wants to see or he wants to get. That's something that comes inside the game design as well. But we also offer banners into sessions as well. And our team help you placing those in the right spots. So, the user don't have like a broken experience or is annoyed by ads over time, right? Nobody likes ads, we know that, right? But it's important as well that the developer on their end, that they also see the revenue coming, because at the end of the day, we love what we do, we love games, but you have to bills to pay, right? And nothing makes us more happy or happier than whenever we get message from developers saying like, hey, I'm hiring one guy or two more people in my company now, so you can see that they are making a living about working with us. This makes us very happy. And I think like on top of that, now we start with in-app purchase, and it's going super well. So if your game is designed for in-app purchase, we have a cooperation with Vexola where you can actually sell in-app purchase for your game on the web, and we're here to support you in that as well. Also give you some tips about how to do those things. So there's a lot of opportunity. We have a massive user base, as I mentioned, 35 million monthly active users. So you have a lot of opportunity. Any game that gets some Crazy Games these days, it's getting like a significant amount of players at first. So it's really cool if you just make your first project and you see like 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people playing your game.
One thing you talk about as well is, the in-app purchases, it's handled by you, right? It's an SDK you can plug into your engine, or do I need to do like separate management of the ads and everything?
No, so the in-app purchase, it's actually all done with Xsola. So we have like our account, we set up a project for you, and then you'll be using Xsola into like setting up everything, the project. And in the end, that makes it easy, because in the end, whenever we are doing an invoice in terms of ads and in-app purchase, you actually get everything together. And but it's quite easy. The Xsola guys are great. There's a lot of documentation on their end.
Make it easy for the developers, basically. Make you focus on the games. One other thing that was actually the original time that we got reached out by Crazy Games, and I want to hear your opinion on this, is the strategy of, hey, if you have a game that you are putting on Steam, and you have a demo. We were contacted, hey, you're making Forge Industry, why don't you put a demo of Forge Industry on Crazy Games? Is that an approach you like as well, where it could be something to drive maybe wishlist as well? You're open to that? How do you see that?
That's a great one. Yeah, we do have great demos that actually were posted. Like, ultimately, it's one thing that's important to consider is that Crazy Games is an engagement-based platform. So if you have a very thin demo, obviously the engagement will not be very high. But if you put like a nice cut from your game, you do have an opportunity to expose like free marketing, free exhibition. You're gonna get like a lot of users, and then of course you can link. We are one of the few platforms that actually will link your Steam page on the description, so people that are interested, they can go and actually buy the game on Steam.
Maybe one last question: what is your ultimate tip for people making games, like just a general game development related tip? What would you give to the viewers, whether they put on Crazy Games or on Steam or whatever? What is something that you've probably seen a lot of games pass by? What is something that stands out and it's like, hey, this is what all these great games have in common?
Oh, that's like $1 million question, dude. That's like, I think every game starts like with a great mechanic, right? Like you have like something that you feel pleasant to do, and then you have the game loop. And I feel like, I'm more. There was a time I used to play AAA games, and I used to like them. I don't do it anymore. I don't have the time. So, but I still appreciate like well-polished, experiences. They don't need to be gigantic, but it feel like so. Quality speaks also, I think, quite high. It doesn't matter if the game is 2D, 3D. if it feels like the mechanic is good and the graphics are polished, I think people will play and like it. And this is what we tell the developers, focus into making not a gigantic game, but a small game that feels very, very nice to play, and then you have success.
All right, so we personally have also worked with Crazy Games before. We've uploaded our own games. Songs of Evertrade was one where we wanted to try that strategy, also just of getting more feedback from having the demo and learning more. And indeed, like you said, the approval process is relatively easy. You upload 3 pictures, that is your capsule basically. You add a description, you do a Unity export in our case, and that's basically it. You wait for the QA. QA does actually test the games. It's also what I've learned. Our UI scaling was all wrong, and we got great feedback on that as well. So I think honestly, they can get started. You said it before already, developer.crazygames.com, right? And just sign up and just export. Godot supports it.
We have plugins for most game engines, and we actually partner up with them as well. There will be news if you follow us on LinkedIn. You'll be hearing some really cool stuff that we're doing with game engines. I can't disclose right now, but in a couple of weeks you'll see this. There is a lot of, in terms of growing the community, and we're very supportive. I would say this is probably one of the things that I'm very proud of the team. We're pro developers. You receive feedback, and we're very transparent about the things we're doing. And ultimately, great games with a great community. So it's time to join Crazy Games.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for your time and the explanation. I think Crazy Games is a great platform that honestly most of you guys probably should try out at least. Shout out to everyone who's making a 2D game as well. I think.
Yeah, to the 2D games. Yes, I love 2D games. Yes, go 2D games. Game Maker. Any of those cool. You just come to Crazy Games, and even if you don't publish your game, you should come and play our games, so you see the quality that that we're having these days. I'm very proud, the sort of content that we're adding to a web platform. I think it's unprecedented. So go check it out. If you always leave a comment, or if you have any criticism, please reach out on LinkedIn or just on Crazy Games. You will find our support email. We're always open for feedback, and your feedback is very valuable. Very nice. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much as well.
And it's a really cool channel. So
we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.